Out of all the videos you made, which one do you feel had the most impact on people?
The people.
It's clear that all of them had an impact, right? But which one do you think received the strongest feedback?
The whole ayahuasca experience, right? Because everyone who goes to take it has an absurd experience, whether it's positive or negative in the eyes of others. And there, the coolest thing to see is the people who call me afterwards, and the comments from people. You saw in the video you made about the substances, a lot of comments from people talking about how their ayahuasca experiences were, and it's really beautiful to see. People reconnecting with the father and mother who passed away, managing to understand and removing a deep blockage they had in life. So, in the end, I think this is the most enjoyable part, receiving this feedback. And looking at people's experiences, I see that there are people who go through things that I will never experience. Just as there are things I go through that people will never experience, because each experience is unique, and I have been taking it for years. And each experience is completely new, totally different from one another. There's no way, man.
Truth.
And you? Which video do you think touched people the most?
Man, I think the video that touched people the most was the second video I made about the evolution of consciousness, from the atom to God. I think that was what people enjoyed the most, and this last one now, which is the whole story of spirituality. I think people liked it a lot too. These were the two that I feel have the most positive feedback, not just from people watching the video and saying, wow, this video is really cool, but actually transforming the person, awakening them to a new area they were not familiar with, awakening them to new knowledge, to a new internal search that they will experience. So I think those two were the main ones, but there was one, which was your last one, actually, about Sananga. Man, I really enjoyed that video. In fact, I have a lot of questions about Sananga, like, what is the real purpose of this medicine? What do you think is the main objective it seeks to heal in people?
Clarity. It is very important for us to have clarity in our lives. Right. When our mind is racing, our eyes become clouded. We can't see where we're going, and we can't see what's happening around us. This broad perspective on things is very important for knowing where you are, and to know how to get to wherever you want to go. Right. And it is used by indigenous people for hunting at night. Right. To clarify vision and open spiritual vision. So, among the various treatments that it offers, for your eyes, right? As for curing cataracts, I can't recall the full list of all the diseases that, whether we like it or not, it helps to cure. I think that spiritually it has a purpose of opening your vision as well, if you want to intend that right. Or in a medicine that opens this spiritual perspective on things, allowing one to see and feel more energy, and sometimes even to perceive the spirit, in short, something that is there. But for me, the main key point is clarity. Bringing clarity to your life, because that is very important.
Do you think that it was the one that transformed you the most? I know it's hard to say which one had the most or least transformation, but do you think that Sananga was also very important in your spiritual journey?
Certainly.
What?
It's not as close to me as the ASCO repeal, but everything, whether we like it or not, is their medicines, right? So you go there, you treat your eyes, you treat your mind, you treat your spirit. You work on your communication with Tim Kwok. Each medicine comes with a different purpose, and I think that's what we need to be aware of. Knowing that it is a medicine, that it is a tool, and that we have to use it with a purpose for what it is intended. And it is with a purpose that we intend otherwise. The difference between medicine and poison lies in the dose, so that was one of the reasons I reduced the use of rape as well. Man, I'm using a lot of rape, seeking the sensation, because I'm anxious. And not intending to meditate and understand why I am actually anxious, just wanting to find a way to relieve that anxiety, right? So, we can't overdo it. It is a tool, and it should be used selectively. Obviously, if we are in a treatment, it is different, but generally, it should be used selectively.
What I find interesting about ayahuasca is that even if a person has a bad experience or a good experience, it is never a mediocre experience, so to speak. It's always a back, even if it's to transform the person or for them to see something they need to work on within themselves. So, even though it is a very strong experience, many people feel that it was not beneficial for them because it was a bad experience they had to go through. She had to confront her own traumas and fears. However, ayahuasca will always bring a benefit. It always depends on the person and also on the one who is leading that experience to know how to reframe the experience they had. So, I think that's the main point. For anyone who is thinking about trying it one day, to know that it's going to be a tough experience.
Well, it doesn't mean that every experience is going to be crazy, right? But it's just that, since these are things that people have never experienced and are usually very new, right? People carry a lot of fear for what they haven't gone through. It's the fear of the unknown, right? So when you take it, whether you want to or not, everything is very new there, and that can sometimes become frightening, right? And you combine that on your own, which is like using any other substance. With this substance that is actually there to show your inner self, you are seeing things about yourself that you don't want to see, right? This is the key, obviously, for you to reframe in your life. But that becomes scary, right? And in the end, it's just there to teach you. And that's why it's the PIA, right? The intensive process. Sometimes it is very intense, and that can indeed be frightening. The first time I was super scared, super anxious in the middle of the process because I was seeing a lot of things. It is that feeling of belonging, like understanding where I come from, a very strong sensation of being aware and feeling at home. Not in your house, not in your body, but to be part of everything. When we realize this, it felt good like that. Obviously, there were many striking moments like looking at things I didn't want to, or going through a very intense process and thinking I wouldn't be able to come back, right? But everything passes.
I remember that I started making videos about spiritism. I even had this fear of closing myself off in a bubble, closing myself off in just one specific niche. But over time, I increasingly created content that was different from the bubble of spiritualism, seeking a more universal spirituality. That is the focus of my channel to this day, and I think the same thing happened to you, right? You found a focus on ancestral medicines and followed that path.
Many medicines is because we work with this, right? And in the end, we are. I always say we because there is always a team behind it, right? But in the end, we are researchers of ourselves, researchers of the medicines, anyway. And it's funny, when we started taking ayahuasca, when we actually started serving ayahuasca, it was said that new medicines would be presented to you all. At that time, I had no idea that there were so many, and then mushrooms started to appear. Then I saw Echuma, Mamawilka, Tinquaquiman. It's a ton of medicine that I had no idea about. And it's obvious. It's good that it's all natural, right? It's there for us to really use as a tool to develop ourselves and become better people. Anyway.
Which one had the most impact on you out of all the medicines you have consecrated? Which was the most impactful?
Ayahuasca. I am very protected by ayahuasca.
Flagship, right?
It's the flagship when I decided to make the video about ayahuasca. It's funny, every time I make a video about a medicine, I am. It's an honor, right? Yes. Making a video about a medicine is a great honor for me. So I am always gifted by them. And the Madrecita, ayahuasca for me was. Her protection came. Right, that. Everything is okay, you will go through the P, I will continue going through it, but now with a completely different perspective. So for sure it was the one that marked me the most. I received a blow of rape. I got a blow. I don't know where it came from, but it was wonderful, very strong. And each one comes to deliver something to me beyond what it has already enabled, this expansion of consciousness in this inner healing. Wonderful.
But before you started the channel, did you already have experience with the sacred medicines, for sure?
It was a journey, right, that has been. Nothing starts from nothing, in a way, right, even though the path is made by walking, we learn along the way. I had already been on a journey of self-discovery, taking courses until I started taking ayahuasca, and then it was a shock, like, okay. Everything that I didn't stop believing, I was just a bit skeptical. Okay, now I understand. I started to understand a little more about how everything works, right? Those veils have lifted from my sight. And then it was a few years of taking ayahuasca until the work started to take shape, until I began making the videos for the channel, and the space also started to take form, and it took some time, so the first video was a bit challenging. Wow, just imagine. I was thinking about how I would present it, how I would do this, how I would bring this content. And the path is made by walking, right? Along the way, we discover, we get better. We understand what presents itself, what opportunities arise for us. The important thing is that we keep moving forward.
True. Now I want to understand Gus until we reach the moment he created the channel. Who was Gus before this, before he knew the sacred medicines? Before he started with this spirituality?
Before we begin spirituality.
How were you like that? How did you?
I think that before starting the channel, I am the same person I am today, the same person I present myself as, right? The difference is that as you keep walking, things start to surface within you, right? A force begins to emerge. A connection starts to blossom. Sometimes even an enchantment. Then, all of this becomes much stronger within you. But nothing of what I am today was something I wasn't before, so wasn't it? It's like I'm just creating a character out of nowhere.
You only rediscovered who Gus really is at his core. Exactly.
And over time, as I make more and more videos, I am understanding more deeply why I am doing what I am doing, why I was called to this, right? Remembering why I am here. Yes, it's true and it's very beautiful for me to look at what I am doing today. Think about when I don't know, am 90 years old. Tim, look at a child, a grandchild, and it will be there. Not just my work, but my life journey. Everything I learned is documented there. And the best part is, it's shared, so that, who knows, I might be a bridge for other people who are also looking to learn, right? So, I will probably change this concept a lot throughout my life, but today this mind and mentality that I have, it is wonderful.